Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. So, we're going through a lot of these, like, generic textured walled areas. This is a midway gondola station. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. We had a gondola section that was an on-rails shooter, and now we're going through this midway gondola section to just get on to another gondola and probably do another on-rails shooter section. The big problem here being that I don't have enough bullets to... I really don't have enough bullets to safely make it from point A to point B. And I really question whether I'm still just not playing on normal mode, and normal mode is just really, really difficult since this is a 2003 era game. Use the metal machine gun to shoot down flying things. Okay. So we had done this before. Now it's not on rails though, as much as we're just taking off the ships as they're launching. Like, I'm not seeing them actually fly over here. So did I just clear out the entirety of the area? Am I supposed to be shooting the cable car? It doesn't look like there's anything there. And there's just like nothing else over here. The guys are taking more damage nowadays, at least with that machine gun. But yeah, I'm very confused. Am I supposed to jump up here? Far too many opportunities to jump to your death. This is probably a game that would benefit severely by simply handing over a no answer a lot of times. And now I'm just stun locked into a wall.
This ought to be hot.
So there's a fairly obvious scripted sequence they want to have happen here. Though how the scripted sequence totally is different now, depending on whether you get in early or you get in late. Like, clearly they expected you to get in late and have the planes fly around some more. They're trying to show off the plane's flying technology. But there really is just nothing that points you towards this direction, or the idea of even turning around. That is pretty foreign to this game. These guys don't show up. until they don't show up until you start walking very close to the door. So a better scripted experience here definitely would be to have them make a very loud door opening sound effect that would be kind of unique to this one position, and then you would turn around with the gun, or better yet, you would have just Indiana Jones turn with the gun automatically in a very scripted way. Or grabbing med kits because they're useful. I don't think anything's going to happen here, though. Well, I'll be darned, I was wrong. That time it did happen, but there really was no sound effects. And there's no planes. And interesting, you always leave at that default position. I'm going to use a med kit. I'm going to pull out the Mauser and pick up this. It's very, very obvious that a more modern version of this game could have this same kind of sequence with just a lot more polish. A lot of just 1 second, 2 second long animations to smoothly transition from the basic gameplay mechanics. Alright, let's just run from this guy. This guy's throwing grenades at me. He's physically throwing a grenade at me. Nothing here. Alright, so it's this door, but we are just in a boss fight. And this is a great highlight of where boss fights don't work in this game.
This ought to be odds.
I guess technically you wouldn't call that a boss fight because we weren't fully forced into fighting. I think we've got another med kit here, so we might as well use it. Meanwhile, we're just waiting for this to slowly approach here. So in a lot of ways, I think if you just got here and just waited, the infinitely spawning enemies would stop being a problem. And walk. And start the cutscene. Noticeably, he immediately is on top of the roof of the car again. Which, visually, that's just not great because of this being in the way. It would have been better if you were on a balcony on the other side, on the lower section. I can hear him, but doesn't inherently mean I can see him there. It seems to me like I'm having to shoot slightly ahead of where they're going to be more than I did in the previous on-rails shooting section. And generally, when you see the exact same thing done twice, particularly back-to-back like this, or nearly back-to-back, there was one middle section, that makes me suspect that there were two people in charge of developing a sequence and they couldn't agree, so they took both ideas and are putting them as a presentation against each other. Now this is much more what I would have expected from a game called The Emperor's Tomb. It's interesting we have now thunder, lightning, thunder sound effects and lightning flashing. Yeah, instead of running around a Nazi castle, I would have expected to run around a lot more Chinese type castles. We have been reset here. We just have 6 revolver shots. And I cannot really tell which way I'm supposed to go. Like, there's no way to swing here. Looks like I could jump down there. Looks like I may have no choice but to jump down there. Alright. This one seems to have a stab attack when they're on the ground, but you can see it's not very effective. And I can't take the Chinese spear with me. So I'm just not sure if I'm finding collectibles here or if I am, looks like I broke the Chinese sphere, doing something else. It's weird to have a whole thing. So am I supposed to jump down? No, I think I'm just getting the prompt to push the box, even though the box has been pushed already. It's worth pointing out that in the Infernal Machine, for what little of that game I actually played, you could grab and push boxes, and they've devolved that into just pressing a prompt button for a mini interaction. I feel like there should be more breadcrumbing in a sequence like this. I have definitely a concern that this is a shorter experience that's gonna really just feel like a small breather from all the shooting that we've done up until this point before we start doing shooting some more. If we were gonna there is a wide swing that the Chinese spear has, so I can potentially beat on 2 people at the same time. But it is very tit for tat as far as how all this fighting goes. They're kung fuing you, or karateing you, or whatever you want to call it, quite a bit. And I still wouldn't be surprised if we stopped using the cantina completely. So I may have to use a health kit. We do have the cantina now, so we'll use it now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're fairly quickly going to go to health kits. This door doesn't open.
That's not.
This door doesn't open. In part, I'm also feeling like these guards are not as strong as the guards that, or the triad members we fought in Hong Kong. That would let me whip my way to a different direction.
That's not gonna work.
This doesn't open. So we are still very often running into doors that just don't work. Let's see if we can do a grab. And this guy's got a new weapon. Game is very happy to throw new weapons at you every couple levels. But is that what an Indiana Jones game should be? Is that even what a Lara Croft Tomb Raider game should be? When you just get down to the core of it. We have 2 shots on that. That's not one to waste, I imagine. I've picked up my hat so many times. There almost certainly would have been an achievement around that if this was an older game.
That's not gonna work. That's not.
So what I'm being trained to figure is that these doors never work, and yet that's absolutely not true. It just worked, and we are back to filling the water cantina, which maybe means we're going to get more things. A bigger cantina, throwing knives, tiger strength potion. What is a tiger strength potion all about? It would have been asking a lot to assume that a single shot would have killed the characters with crossbow. You have a louder loading sound effect around the crossbow than you do around half the guns in the game. I want to go back here and just investigate what was further down this hallway. Nothing, just that. Interesting. Interesting lightning visual effect. So you see a guy that way. We don't have any other options. The throwing knife went right over the head. Really gotta start blocking better. I wonder if it is supposed to be kind of like a counter. Oops. Well, that's the first time that I have paused the game. Yep. I wonder if it is perhaps supposed to be like a counter system where you're supposed to hit the right bump right as they're about to hit you over and over again.
That's
We are staying within a fairly small area, which is different than other levels in this game. The entire durability of that Chinese spear fell apart. In one fight. So there is a real argument to pick up the next Chinese spear and see if you regain some durability there. You probably do. I wonder if this isn't more of a case where I would suspect that your durability does reset on an item once you pick it up again. Since when you pick up certain items, you also get bullets back sometimes. Particularly if an enemy picks it up in between the point where you picked it up last. There's a lot of getting knocked around here, though. And while this may be fairly accurate depiction of what being in a fight is actually like, and that you are going to take punches and take damage, it's not particularly what you want to see. Interesting how the crossbow ammo was just floating there. It's not really what you want to see in a video game depiction. I have no idea what that did, if that did anything. It seems like it may have just opened up something else. So now we have this iron skin potion. Okay. So what I want to do is next time we're in a fight, let's use the Iron Skin Potion and see if that might be a permanent upgrade. It probably isn't. But I would assume it isn't because we're seeing like 3. We are in a very different position now from where we last left. So there definitely feels like they cut a level there. Do we have our potions still? Yes. How many crossbow shots do we have? 15 is not a lot. I suspect we might have a bit of a fight in the middle here. Some kind of large group of enemies. Probably not a sub-boss. That being said, there were 2 Chinese triad clone ladies, so it would make sense if 1 or 2 of them showed up. Yeah, it would make kind of a good amount of sense if one or 2 of them showed up and fought in a gateway area. Although the implication feels like this is just going to be a stealth sequence. This game doesn't have any reason why it would encourage stealth sequences. Can I grab my way onto these slope ledges? No. Can I grab up here? Yes. But then you're limited to where you can go otherwise. It would be so much better if you paused the screen when you were swapping out weapons. I lost my hat somewhere along there. And I'm not gonna look for it. This is probably a pretty bad position to try and use the potions. Or whatever. This definitely feels like a compromised situation where they realized that they couldn't program. I don't have an explosive charge. They realized that they couldn't really program the guys to walk on these types of roofs, so then they just made a bunch of platforms. You know what? Well then, down. Interesting. Shallow water does not protect you. Alright. So before you engage with any of this, it seems like you should engage with what the cutscene here is pointing you at, which is this one guy. And then it's basically telling you to go that way. So I just ignored all of that. Let's see. Yeah, this is not working well. That's a lot of bullets. You just have to fill them with crossbows. And it definitely feels like, alright, let's do this tiger skin potion. I thought you would just use it. There's really no commentary you can have on the 100th person that you've had to beat to death. Alright. Iron skin potion. Drink. It seems to me like as you take damage, you get some extra protection. So it's just armor, effectively. Which you're just seeing more and more influences of something like Doom, which that certainly makes sense. And refilling your cantina is not going to let you refill the iron skin, which is slowly going down. So we do know health potions. So this is just the default.
It's full. It's full. It's full.
Idea.
It's full.
We have the maximum amount of crossbolts that you can have, I guess. I assume I can't go up here or punch a gong. No gong sound effects. Nothing to open this. Nothing to open this. Notice how his animation just pushes on the wall. That way they don't have to animate him grabbing a handle or pulling. Seems like you could just go here and jump from that point, but nope. And it kind of seems like this bonsai trees and these rocks might be hiding something, but I bet they aren't. This game's too simplistic for any of that. And there's an argument, anywhere you see a water fountain should probably also be a checkpoint. I need to be careful to not just fall to my death, since now we've made some progress. This one does feel like a particularly long jump for no good reason. Just feels a little unbalanced. Also feels weird that there isn't some flat platforms in between that one section and the next. A double tap on the B button to bring out the whip probably would have been a smart move. Just go over here and jump this way. I cannot hit this guy. I was too close to him to shoot him with the crossbow. That's another fairly long jump. And so we wasted the iron skin potion. Very possibly we won't get another one of those. So we were on the outside of the castle, then we were in the somewhat inside of the castle, and now we're on the outside of another part of the castle, assuming the whole thing is one big castle. They're reminding us that we can walk on ledges, since we haven't done that in a very long time. More and more the game is allowing me to just hold the B button and not have to do the running jump nonsense. Particularly with this crossbow gun, it does seem like you are just supposed to burn through the bullets very quickly. Like I went down from having quite a lot to basically having none. And that's been the problem with the other weapons that we've run into also, is that they... This one's not even acting like a door. Like, there's just no real balance around it. And I don't see why there's so many bricks in a building that looks like it's made mostly up by bamboo and wood. Oh, there are bricks so we can push bricks. And there's a whole section there of maybe something I could pick up, but I didn't move fast enough, I imagine. Most people wouldn't Well, we are down this way, so let's go ahead and check what was in here. A bigger canteen
glory,
and a
here I
collectible.
come.
It's really, really easy to get knocked off the ledge.
Hey, 你给我站住！站住！
Ah. That was not worth it. And it's pretty obvious they had to sneak something in here because there would have been no way to get back up if you'd fallen down. They didn't have to sneak a collectible in there, but they would have had to have done something. It may have been a little repetitive, though, I guess, if they had had a line of dialogue every time you picked up your hat. Okay. I feel like I may have to move fairly quickly here. Well, I didn't die, so I'll take that as a victory. I am not, however, certain that I didn't screw up. Like, we needed this higher from where it is. And I don't know how we do that. Yeah, this is where we were. Why is my health so low all of a sudden? Have I not been paying attention to it, or did I just take some weird fall damage? Now, I've found 2 cantinas here, but I don't feel like I have a secondary upgrade to the cantinas. Alright. Attempt number 2. So we took some fall damage, and it feels like that was intentional and just not animated very well. That it maybe forced me to let go and fall down. So there is probably a scenario there where you would have gotten a game over if your life was particularly low from the fall damage that the game seemingly forces you to take. Alright, we have a chain here, so I wonder if we're jumping for the chain and then jumping for, or maybe we were just going for this platform. Nope, that was a swing. Now, I don't want to take much blame for that one, because if you're doing a jump, and then the next thing is a swing, how would you know? It's much more logical that it would stay consistent. That is, though, the end of my canteen, so any future mistakes are going to not be able to be undone. I'm getting the suspicion that this level is going to end up ending fairly abruptly, though. They could certainly throw more enemies at me and more platforming, but no matter what happens, we're eventually just going to run out of bullets. So you make all those jumps, and then you potentially die in a fight after that, particularly if you have taken fall damage. The big twist, and what you would kind of expect, is that very often the female love interest in an Indiana Jones character is proven to be either dumb or evil. So I'd half expect we find our ninja girl actually isn't as good as we think.
To betray us. You showed so much promise. In time, you might have become my empress and my son. No, life will serve a different purpose. You know the punishment for treason. Tonight, I will offer your soul as a gift to Kong Tie. Oh yes. And then I will make the mirror dreams whole again. And all who oppose me will be swept aside in the storm that follows. Sleep, my love. We have a busy night.
Seems a little redundant to have to tie up the lady and lock her in a cage.
What was that?
It's a shame we have to kill this one. He looks like fun. Business before pleasure. May. The master wants his head on a stake.
Nice.
So we didn't get to see too much of this lady, of these twins, but I can certainly see why it would appeal to the writers to have this kind of fight. I'm pretty sure Indiana Jones does hit women in the movies. And certainly, I guess it's worth pointing out that times have certainly changed. Wow, they are really just knocking you up quite a bit, because there is a bit of a cancel culture attempt on Indiana Jones, which is somewhat appropriate in that he didn't sleep with a student who was underage. He definitely slept with a student as a college professor. So, yeah, and they mention that in the first movie. I don't know if these guys are taking any damage at all. And see, obviously, the goal here is to use all those potions while you could. But I don't know how we're really going to take these guys out. It's just like nothing we have. The number of females in Indiana Jones videos and movies are low. But I'm fairly certain between the first 3 movies he punches at least one Nazi lady or somebody. The whip seems to be the right solution. Of course, you painted yourself in a corner here, the game developers did. They wanted 2 Chinese ladies in scantily clad Chinese, low-cut Chinese dresses, which traditionally are longer flowing than what they're wearing. I don't think these guys can lose their fans in any way, and I don't think I can punch them when they're on the ground. I don't know if these guys really have a health bar, or if maybe there's supposed to be a timer on it, or what. Just drink water as they're shooting me through the air. You can kick her in the ground. If we take one out, I think their combo attack falls apart. So if we just focus on the lady in red, but they may have a shared health bar. Anyways. We got one down. Generally, I think what you would want to do is you would have wanted to maybe have a break and play as the Chinese lady assistant, and then have her fight the twins. That would have made a little bit more sense. Let's wait till the last second to swing here, and now we are in effectively a ventilation shaft that's really big. Not in a good position though. We've got nothing going for us. Let's see. Descend into the darkness. The Temple of Kong 10 survived the deadly descent into the depths of the mountain. So it seems like we've got a lot more to go in this level, and we didn't save the girl, even though we defeated the two ladies. What I would have assumed, what you would have wanted to do is, because you've introduced ladies and you don't want to see Indiana Jones punching ladies over and over again, you would have freed the Chinese lady and then played as her for a brief second and then beat them up. And then as you were walking away with her being freed, somebody would have grabbed her and you would have fallen down the trap hole, a different trap door, and then that would have led to this point. That would have been the easiest way to solve that. Or you could, well, you could write it many different ways, but that would be the default thought. The other thought is to have Indiana Jones solve the fight with the ladies in some kind of intelligent way, trapping them in other cages, or dropping cages from the ceiling on them, having to run towards specific switches on the wall to activate a cage. Or you just have a whole cutscene, so you take it out of the hands of the player. It isn't 100% fair, by any means. In video games, we still are very sexist in that we're willing to shoot and murder hundreds upon hundreds of faceless male characters, but the second you throw in a female character, they are depicted as objects of sexual desire very often. 2003 in particular would have been right in the middle of all of that mentality, and then it just doesn't feel right to most older generations and even modern generations for a man or a biological male with physical prowess to be punching a biological female who is assumed to not have as much strength or durability, even though punching people in general is wrong. And even in this situation, you have triad assassin ladies who probably are as strong as Indiana Jones was, but it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to me personally. It doesn't feel right to most people. You have to really consider how you're going to do that. Yeah, and I think it'll be a long time before we did hit a point where we could have a balanced game where half of the enemies were male and half of the enemies were female, or at least male and female presenting. But yeah, we're not anywhere close to that. That's why so often in games you see no females, which is even worse because then there's no representation. The one thing you could have done to modernize this is have a female leader of the triad, big boss lady. Then she would get a lot more screen time and characterization, whereas these two twin female assassins, I'm not sure both of them even got names. I know one of them was called Mei Mei, but I don't know what the other one was called. So yeah, giving more characterization to a female and making them something more than just a brief token character would be helpful. And in general, it would have been helpful if your damsel in distress character here had a lot more characterization and was around a lot more. That would have allowed you to have a lot more dialogue and a lot more narration, and just make this game feel a lot more like an Indiana Jones movie, which is way more dialogue than you would think. There's a lot of talking in most movies, and Indiana Jones movies in particular. It's not just an action a minute type festival where there's no thought process or conversation happening. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, I need to stop saying that because I don't think I have any social media sites down below in the description. I do have support links down below in the description though. Yep, I'm in the middle of a transition, certainly and have trained myself to say the same ending over and over again. Now it's becoming a problem. Anyways, that's something for me to deal with. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.